December 10, 1787, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Later, his family settled in Hartford, Connecticut, in the home of his grandparents. Thomas Gallaudet was a brilliant student, and at age 14, he attended Yale University. Not only did he attend Yale at age 14, but he graduated 3 years later and was the top of his class. After graduation, Gallaudet served a law apprenticeship and studied independently. In 1808, Thomas returned to Yale. He then earned a Master of Arts degree in 1810 and worked as a traveling salesman. Being raised in a family who had strong Protestantism, he felt the need to do ministry. In 1812, Thomas enrolled in the Andover Theological Seminary and graduated in 1814. Thomas was interested in becoming a preacher, but when he went and visited his family in Hartford, Connecticut, a young girl changed his mind. One day he looked out the window and noticed that his brothers and sisters were playing with this girl. Thomas took interest in this and went to figure out why the siblings weren't playing with her. He soon learned that this young girl, Alice Cogswell, was deaf. Thomas didn't know any sign language, so he tried to communicate with her by writing HAT in the dirt. She understood what he wrote, and this intrigued him to teach the young girl more. Thomas took an interest in this 9-year-old girl, and two of them started a teacher-student relationship. Alice's father, Dr. Mason Cogswell, was a Hartford physician. He was incredibly nervous about his daughter not receiving proper education. He stressed his concerns to Thomas and asked him to travel to Europe to study methods for teaching deaf students. While Thomas Gallaudet was still in Great Britain, he met the Abbé Sicard, head of the Institut Royal des Sourds Muets in Paris, and two of its deaf faculty members, Laurent Clerc and Jean Massue. Impressed with the manual methods that they showed him, Gallaudet studied teaching mythology under Sicard, learning sign language from Massue and Clerc, who were both highly educated graduates of the school. After a year of being educated, Thomas decided to return home to the United States. He didn't travel alone, though. Gallaudet brought Clerc with him to be one of the teachers in the new school for the deaf. April of 1817, the first school that has ever been built specifically for the deaf opened in Hartford, Connecticut. It was the first school called the Connecticut Asylum for the education and instruction of deaf and dumb persons, and was then renamed the American School for the Deaf. Gallaudet's school was such a success that by the end of the first year, the President of the United States, James Monroe, had paid a visit to the school. The President was so impressed that he had the government grant a large piece of land and a 3-story building for the growing of the school. In August of 1821, Thomas Gallaudet married one of his students, Sophia Fowler. After their wedlock, they were introduced with a baby. His wife, Sophia, was concerned that the child would be deaf. When the child was born, she tested the baby and discovered that their child was able to hear. Over the years of the couples being together, Thomas and Sophia had 8 children. Thomas Gallaudet continued working for the school until 1831. When he left the school, he decided to take upon jobs as a minister. In September of 1851, Gallaudet passed away. He had troubles fighting a lung disease that he had suffered from since he was a child. His youngest son, Edward, decided to follow in his father's footsteps and support deaf education. Edward decided that he wanted to start the first college for the deaf. With the help from President Abraham Lincoln, he was able to be successful. Edward turned the Columbia Institution into a college for the deaf and became its first president. Graduates of the college asked the board to change the institution's name to Gallaudet University in honor of Edward's father, Thomas Gallaudet. Thomas Gallaudet has left an incredible impact on me and the future teacher that I would want to become. He has not only shaped the lives of the impaired hearing students, but all students that have read and become familiar with the legacy that he has left. The personal drive that Gallaudet had to learn a complete new form of language absolutely blows my mind. He was willing to take the time and to figure out how to help this 9-year-old girl, which led to an even more successful future for him. In conclusion, Gallaudet was not only influenced my life, but others that have been able to be a part of it. As a future teacher, I want to develop many of the characteristics that he had, such as being passionate, selfless, motivated, and genuinely caring for each of his students. The impact that he has left as a teacher was incredible. Thomas Gallaudet's legacy will live on forever. His inspiration has given me the hope that one day I can touch my students in a way that he has touched his. Thank you.